Fluent Flow podcast. New videos every day. Let's learn English together.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex topics, source materials, research, basically a big pile of information, and we distill it down for you fast. Today, we're doing something maybe a little different, looking at something that seems deceptively simple on the surface. We're going to be unpacking a script, specifically a script for a beginner English learning podcast. Now, our goal here isn't actually to teach English, not at all. Instead, we really want to peel back the layers and understand the thinking behind this kind of material, the pedagogical choices, the content decisions, how it's all put together to help someone new to the language. It's kind of a look at the architecture, the subtle engineering that makes language learning feel, well, effective.
It really is. It shows how careful design can make a huge difference, even when the lesson itself looks quite straightforward.
Exactly. So the specific source is an excerpt called My Clickly Meals, a beginner's English guide. And this is basically the script for an episode titled Fluent Flow Podcast, Episode 14, What I Eat in a Week, Simple for Beginners. And the creators, they were very clear about their aims. They literally stated it's meant to be approximately 20 minutes, conversation between two friends, speaking very slowly, using easy vocabulary, much repetition, focusing on simple and well-known foods. All to help beginners learn with clarity and confidence.
Yeah, and that clarity of purpose is really striking, isn't it? For anyone interested in, communication or education, how they laid out their methodology right from the start, it's quite telling. They knew exactly who they were talking to, absolute beginners. They specified the approach, slow, easy, repetition, and the content, simple foods. It set such a strong foundation. You immediately get the sense this isn't just a casual chat. It's thoughtfully crafted.
It signals intent.
Precisely. It shows they really understand what a true beginner needs, that feeling of support,
Okay, so let's unpack this. How does this script, just by talking about food, manage to teach English effectively to beginners?
Well, that's the central question, isn't it? And it raises a bigger point. What can we learn about effective teaching from something that seems so straightforward?
Right.
Yeah.
So on the surface, just food talk, but you're saying there's a definite strategy. What's maybe the biggest pitfall a less experienced creator might fall into here? Something this script cleverly avoids?
Oh, that's a great question. Because it highlights that intentionality. I think the most common mistake is underestimating the cognitive load on a beginner. Creators might mean well, but they introduce too much vocabulary too quickly, or speak too fast, or use complex sentences way too soon. This script completely sidesteps that. It gets that every single new word, every slight difference in pronunciation, it takes real mental effort for a beginner. So when they explicitly say, easy words, simple English, let's go slow, they're actively managing that load. They're creating an optimal space for learning to actually happen.
Setting them up for success, basically.
Yeah.
Removing hurdles before they even see them.
Exactly. It's brilliant learning design, really.
Okay, so let's start where the listener starts, the introduction. This sets the whole tone. Anna, one of the hosts in the script, she starts. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Fluent Flow podcast. This is episode 14, What I Eat in a Week. Simple for beginners. My name is Anna. I'm from Canada. Then Mark introduces himself. Hi, I'm Mark. I'm from the United States. And then together, we are happy you're here with us. Today, we will talk about food. Food that we eat every day. Easy words, simple English. Let's go slow. Together.
Right. That introduction. It's honestly a masterclass in creating psychological safety, which is just huge for learning. Calling themselves friends, that's a deliberate choice. It immediately makes it feel friendly, approachable, and crucially not intimidating.
Yeah, language learning can feel really scary at the start.
Totally. You worry about mistakes. Sounding silly. So framing it as just friends talking, it dissolves that typical teacher-student dynamic. It lowers what Stephen Krashen called the affective filter, that wall of anxiety or self-consciousness that just shuts down learning. When you feel safe, unjudged, your brain is just way more open to taking in new stuff. It feels less like homework and more like, joining a conversation.
So that explicit, easy words, simple English, let's go slow. Together. It's more than just info, it's reassurance, right? But is there a risk there? Does saying it's easy maybe set expectations too low for the long run?
That's fair, but for an absolute beginner, that reassurance is everything. At this stage, the goal isn't challenge, it's building a solid, confident foundation. The danger of overwhelming them is way higher than the danger of underestimating them initially.
Right.
That phrase directly counters beginner anxiety. It promises they won't suddenly be hit with complex grammar or fast speech. And that word together, that's powerful. It implies partnership.
Like you're not alone in this.
Exactly. It builds camaraderie, motivation, helps you stick with it. It's like paving a smooth runway before the plane even thinks about taking off.
And the simplicity of the actual phrases used. Hello, my friend. Welcome. My name is. These are foundational, aren't they? They're not just greetings. They're high-frequency phrases a beginner needs. Hearing them repeated slowly, clearly, it reinforces them immediately.
Absolutely. It builds automaticity. For a beginner, even hello takes conscious thought. Repetition makes it automatic, like muscle memory for language. And mentioning their origins, Anna from Canada, Mark from the US, that's subtle, but also quite smart pedagogically.
How so?
Well, right away, learners get gentle exposure to different native accents. Without making a big deal of it, it prepares them for the variety they'll encounter later.
Ah, interesting. So it normalizes variation from the start.
Precisely. Within that safe, welcoming context, it builds auditory flexibility without them even realizing it.
Okay, so they've set this really welcoming, reassuring stage. Where do Anna and Mark go next? It feels like a very natural shift into the core topic. The daily routine of eating.
It is remarkably natural, and that's the brilliance. The whole lesson hinges on organizing food vocabulary by the day of the week, tying it directly to daily life. Structuring it around a week in meals isn't random. It taps into how our brains work. We remember things better when they fit into a story, a routine, a practical context.
Right, rather than just a list of words.
Exactly. Trying to memorize a random list of food words, way less effective than learning bread in the context of Monday breakfast. It gives the words a mental home.
Okay, let's break it down. Monday, Anna starts. On Monday, I eat bread and butter for breakfast. I drink coffee. Then immediately, bread, butter, coffee, repeat with me. Bread, butter, coffee. Mark takes lunch. For lunch, I eat rice and beans. I also eat chicken. And the prompt, say it with me, rice, beans, chicken. Anna finishes with dinner. At night, I eat a sandwich. Sometimes I eat a salad. Let's repeat. Sandwich, salad. Very simple.
Yeah, this Monday segment, it's like a perfect little model of their whole approach. Notice the focus. Single concrete nouns. Bread, butter, coffee, very visual, easy to grasp. But the key is that immediate, consistent prompt. Repeat with me or say it with me.
Active participation, not just listening.
Exactly. It's a direct command to engage vocally, practice pronunciation. That's absolutely vital for beginners to link the word, the sound, and the meaning. It helps move it from short-term recall to something more lasting.
And that very simple at the end.
That's strategic reinforcement again. Lowers the perceived difficulty, tells the learner, you can do this. It's built-in positive feedback.
Okay, then Tuesday, food for energy. Mark. Tuesday morning, I eat eggs and toast. I drink orange juice, repeat, eggs, toast, orange juice. Anna for lunch. Lunchtime, I eat pasta with tomato sauce. I drink water.
Wow.
Mark for dinner. Dinner, I eat soup and bread. Let's say it slowly. Soup, bread.
So here you see a subtle expansion. They introduce slightly more complex items like orange juice or tomato sauce, moving from single nouns to simple noun phrases.
But still very common things.
Very common. And notice the continued focus on slow, clear pronunciation. Let's say it slowly. That's not just about speed, it's guiding how to say it, breaking down the sounds. It's classic scaffolding, providing just enough support to manage a slightly harder task. It prevents overwhelm as the vocabulary gently expands.
Right. Then Wednesday, healthy and simple. Anna. In the morning, I eat fruit, banana, apple, grapes. Let's say them. Banana, apple, grapes. Mark for lunch. Lunch, I eat fish and salad. Fish, salad, very healthy. Anna for dinner. At night, I eat yogurt with honey, or sometimes just tea and toast.
This day's clever. They introduce a category fruit, then immediately give common examples.
Banana, apple, grapes.
Right. That's not just teaching words, it's building semantic networks, connecting related concepts in the learner's mind. Our brains love categories. It's efficient for storage and retrieval.
Like mental folders.
Exactly like mental folders. Much easier than a random list. And throwing in very healthy subtly adds another useful adjective. Plus, the dinner alternative, or sometimes, introduces simple conjunctions naturally.
Reflects real-life choices, too.
Precisely.
Thursday's fast food day. Mark sounds excited. Thursday lunch. I eat pizza. Cheese pizza. Let's repeat. Pizza, cheese.
Anna chimes in. Yes, I love pizza. At dinner, I eat a hamburger with French fries. Let's repeat. Hamburger, fries.
Ah, the fast food day. This is brilliant, pedagogically speaking.
Why brilliant?
Because these words, pizza, hamburger, fries, are practically global. They often cross language barriers because of cultural exposure.
So learners probably already know what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It grounds the new English words in something familiar. It leverages prior knowledge. The learner likely has a visual concept already, which acts as a strong anchor for the English term. Less mental effort needed, so the learning sticks faster. It's like a little linguistic shortcut. Clever. Okay, Friday. A little sweet, Anna. Friday morning, I eat pancakes with honey, and I drink milk. Repeat. Pancakes, honey, milk. Mark lists lunch. For lunch, I eat rice, chicken, and vegetables, and dinner. At night, I eat cake, chocolate cake, let's say. Cake, chocolate.
Again, a gentle increase in complexity here. Simple combinations like pancakes with honey. It implicitly teaches how nouns and prepositions work together to describe a dish, but without any explicit grammar lesson. It's learning through exposure.
And chocolate cake, another universally loved thing.
Right. Still leveraging that shared understanding, the progression is just so smooth, building capacity bit by bit, always with that consistent repetition prompt reinforcing things.
Saturday is fun food, Anna. Saturday morning, I eat cereal with milk. Cereal, milk, Mark adds. I eat toast and eggs. Banana covers the rest. Lunch, spaghetti with meatballs. Dinner, tacos or burritos. Repeat with me. Spaghetti, meatballs, tacos, burritos.
Yeah, this marks a definite shift to weekend foods. Often more varied, maybe a bit more international, but still very common comfort foods. Introducing things like spaghetti, meatballs, tacos, burritos. Maybe slightly less universal than pizza, but still very recognizable. It broadens the scope slightly.
And handles plural nouns and slightly more complex items.
Seamlessly, just through the repetition prompts. It guides them through these new sounds and structures, letting them internalize plurality organically. No rules, just practice.
And finally, Sunday. Rest in food, Mark says. Sunday is my rest day. I eat waffles and coffee in the morning, lunch, roast chicken and potatoes, dinner, something light, like soup. Anna adds her version. Sunday is peaceful. I eat fruit, bread, and tea.
This day adds another layer associating food with states or routines. Rest day, peaceful. It deepens the context, showing how food choices relate to activities or mood. The contrast between a heavier lunch and lighter dinner also subtly introduces ideas of meal balance.
And you mentioned repetition across the week, like soup appearing again.
Yes, soup was on Tuesday, now it's back on Sunday. That's not accidental. It's a fantastic, subtle use of spaced repetition.
Hearing it again later helps it stick.
Exactly. Reinforces the neural pathways for that word much better than just hearing it once. Makes it part of their long-term vocabulary without feeling like a drill.
Okay, so they've spent the week building this vocabulary through daily context. Then comes this explicit review section. This feels really important.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. The power of structured, explicit repetition for beginners. You just can't overstate it. Hearing a word and then saying it out loud, it's crucial. For pronunciation, yes,
Right.
but also for embedding it in long-term memory. It shifts from passive recognition, I think I know that word, to active recall. I can say it, I know what it means.
That active retrieval practice.
It's one of the most solid findings in learning science. This review section directly facilitates that.
And the list itself is comprehensive. It covers all the key nouns they introduced. Bread, butter, eggs, toast, chicken, rice, all the way to waffles, fruits, drinks. It's a final chance to practice, consolidate everything. If you stumbled on spaghetti earlier, here's your low-pressure chance to nail it.
Precisely. It aligns perfectly with principles like active recall, but it feels very human, very approachable. Reviewing them all together after contextual introduction creates this powerful learning loop. You retrieve the info, which strengthens the memory trace.
In the instruction, say each word again slowly. Repeat after us.
Guides them to deliberate practice. Focus on the sound, the feel of the word. That's so much more effective than just passively listening again.
The fact that Anna and Mark alternate during the review, does that add anything?
I think it does. It keeps it from getting monotonous, which drills easily can, maintains engagement. Plus, you're hearing the words from two different voices, maybe slightly different intonations. That's great for auditory training, adaptability.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it brings up an interesting point, doesn't it? In this age of slick language apps and AI tutors, does the human voice, that encouraging presence, still have a unique power?
What do you think?
This script strongly suggests, yes, two friendly voices guiding you. It creates a connection, a sense of support that, an algorithm struggles to replicate.
That human element.
Yeah, it boosts confidence, persistence, and the non-judgmental environment just asking you to repeat helps lower inhibitions about pronunciation, which is a huge barrier for many. You feel like you're on a journey with them.
Okay, so they've built the vocabulary, reviewed it thoroughly, then they move to the closing. But it's not just goodbye, is it? There's a clear effort to sustain the momentum.
Definitely. The final message is just as carefully designed. Anna starts with encouragement. You did great today. You learned so many new words. That positive reinforcement, so important. Learning a language feels hard. Acknowledging the effort, celebrating the success you learned, gives a real boost to their belief in themselves.
Builds self-efficacy.
Exactly. It fuels motivation for the long haul.
And then the specific advice. Practice these words every day. Speak out loud. Repeat them with confidence. It's not vague, it's actionable. Speak out loud directly targets that need for active vocal practice.
Right. The difference between just knowing a word passively and being able to use it confidently in conversation, that's the gap they're helping bridge.
Then come the explicit calls to action. Mark lists them. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share with your friends, follow us for more English practice.
Very strategic. These aren't just marketing fluff. They're invitations to become part of a community, to commit to ongoing learning.
How do those actions help learning?
Well, subscribing means you get the next lesson, continuity. Commenting allows interaction, feedback, feeling part of something. Sharing builds a community. Following keeps the connection alive, maybe with smaller bits of practice in between episodes.
It reinforces belonging, provides external motivation, like a gentle nudge to keep going.
Sort of like light gamification, maybe. You're not just consuming, you're participating, investing. That increases the odds you'll stick with it.
And the goodbyes maintain that friendly tone right to the end. See you in the next episode. Bye for now. Bye. Take care.
Leaves you feeling warm, connected, looking forward to the next one. So when you look at the whole arc, from the welcome to the farewell, what does it tell us about learning any new skill?
Seems like it's not just about the information.
Right. It's about the consistent engagement, the support, that feeling of making progress, all carefully nurtured through encouragement and clear next steps. It's really a blueprint for effective teaching.
So wrapping up our deep dive on this Fluent Flow script,
Yeah.
what really hits home is that deliberate simplicity. It creates something quite sophisticated paradoxically. It's not just teaching vocabulary. It's building a safe, effective, even enjoyable learning space. The power of repetition, but embedded in that relatable everyday context of meals, it shows how you can really solidify basics without it feeling like a chore.
Yeah, the contextualization is key.
And the whole structure, the gentle intro, the encouragement, the clear calls to action, it all works together to build confidence and keep learners engaged, almost invisibly guiding them.
It really is a model for how knowledge becomes valuable, not just understood, but applicable and reinforced through practice. Low pressure, consistent practice. It shows that great teaching often involves breaking things down into manageable, repetitive, context-rich steps, delivered with warmth, clarity, and real empathy for the learner.
The learner experience is paramount.
Exactly. Connection and confidence are just as crucial as the content.
So look at a simple language lesson. It really suggests that mastery, maybe in anything, doesn't always come from tackling complex theories head-on. Often it's about that disciplined, consistent repetition of the fundamentals in a clear, friendly, relatable context.
The basics, done well.
Which leads to a final thought. What if we applied this simple words, slow pace, everyday context approach more broadly to other complex things we want to learn? Could we all deep dive more effectively by starting with our own daily meals of knowledge, building confidence one digestible, well-understood piece at a time?
That's a fascinating question to ponder. How breaking things down, focusing on fundamentals within a relatable frame, could that unlock learning across the board?
Something for you to think about.